So what you're going to see in this spectrogram is a few minutes of a very lengthy night. But what I want to show you is if you take a look here in particular, this is where I hit a really big hollow tree. Right here is something we didn't hear, but that is actually a bear responding. I'm glad I didn't hear it. But this is the interesting one. That right there is a knock. Now it took a lot to pull that knock out. We could hear it clearly, but it didn't record very clearly. But that's kind of an interesting thing, and you can hear us get a little bit excited here. But what's going to happen is right around in this area, we're going to ask if the group that we had left behind heard our knock and then return knock, and they had not heard the return knock. What's going to happen when you get right around here is we start to hear more knocks that did not record very well, in part because we were walking. Then what's going to happen right around in this area right here, we hear the other group that was about a mile away give a call and say that they're going to do a knock, which occurs here. That big one right there. All right. Well, immediately afterward, there was a return knock from a different location, which was kind of exciting to hear, and you can hear us get a little excited right over there. But then eventually what happens is we decide we gotta figure out, you know, what's really going on. And so we contacted Caroline's group and said, you know, did you do 2 knocks? And they confirmed that they'd only done 1, but they couldn't hear what we were hearing around us. Then what's going to happen is we started to walk back to the location where the rest of our friends were, and you could start to hear something kind of walking toward us. Now I cut out a little bit of time here because it was just us walking, and you'll hear me say something to the effect of, you know, are they walking back toward us? And that's kind of right over here. And they weren't. This right here is a very clear wood knock that we heard. And it was basically right in front of us. That caused us, as you can kind of hear here, and see, we hurried back to our group to make sure that either they were safe or we were safe. No matter what, there was a little bit more strength in numbers because it was a little bit spooky at the time. It would have been even worse had I heard the bear. Now let's see what it looks like and sounds like. Ready?
Did you hear that response? That was to our knock. We need to return. We need to go back and talk to them. Yes. Just another one. Did you hear it?
No, I didn't.
It was walking right over the big door.
Because that's not where Mary is.
It was like a slap. There's another one. Okay. She just did. I heard her. She did there, but there was one over there. Almost simultaneously.
We gotta find out if Caroline did more than 1 knock, but they just that was a return knock. That was crazy. I mean,
this is Larry on Overlook trying to communicate with Carolyn's group out on the hiking trail. We're wondering if you've done more than 1 knock in the last 5 minutes.
No, we just did one about 30 seconds ago.
We've had about 5 knocks here in the last 5 minutes.
10-4.
are they moving toward us? Did you hear that? Yeah. Yeah.